Hello, my name is Jack Wolf. Welcome to my channel, Impressions. Tonight I want to talk about dopamine. When our dopamine levels rise, we get this feeling of great reward in our brain. And when we feel that, it drives us to say, I want more and more and more of this. You see, our brain will seek out these new experiences that'll trigger these bursts of amazing dopamine spikes. And we get these neurotransmitters that are firing, and it says this, give me more, please. I want more and more of this. The problem is, depending on what it is, we can get addicted to some of this stuff. And see, the dopamine will ask the question in our brain like, hey, let's find something new. Let's take a look. It's one of the reasons that we check our cell phones all the time. It's one of the reasons that when we wake up, it's one of the very first things. Believe it or not, technology understands how our brain works, and they want us to look into this all the time so we get these dopamine highs and get this feel good in our cells and in our brain. But here's an interesting twist. When we hear the word compassion and empathy, we kind of think they're the same thing, but empathy is feeling the same emotion as someone else. And compassion is feeling kindness towards another person. So empathy is about stepping into the shoes of that individual and identifying and, yes, even feeling their pain. But compassion is understanding the suffering or the problem the person is experiencing, and here's the key, acting to resolve it. See, compassion involves understanding and acting. There's a big difference between I feel your pain and I understand and will do something about it. Guess what? Our brain knows the difference. When we get a dopamine spike, this good feeling, this reward type of thing that goes on in our brain when we do something that we like, look at our cell phone, look at a Facebook post, it fires the same kind of feeling in our brain as when we feel love. However, when we have empathy towards somebody, it fires in our brain in the same way that we feel pain, which is why we're able to be empathetic, because we actually feel it. So when it comes to compassion, when we act with compassion, the neurotransmitters fire, we get a dopamine spike, we get this reward in our brain, and our brain says, hey, I really like this. Isn't that great? So here's my impression. We use so many things at our fingertips to get a dopamine fix. You know, we know that we're addicted to screens. Part of the addiction is that it makes us feel good on some level. And we're after a reward. The reason gamblers gamble is not for the money. If it was, once they won the big pot, they'd quit. What they like is the action of the possibility of it could come to pass. I could make money. And as soon as they do, they're right back at it. Because now once you get the reward, you want to get it again and again and again. So my impression is that we're spending all of our time on our screens, texting and Facebook and Twitter, and all those things have great value. However, and I'm not against technology, but, I want to challenge us with this. The Bible says that Jesus was a man filled with compassion. So compassion wasn't, I feel your pain. Compassion was, I see your suffering, and I'm going to act on it. We read the scriptures over and over and over again. We see Jesus acting with compassion, acting with compassion, acting with compassion. What if we as a society looked up from our screens, looked up from our sets, stopped reading every blog and every post and every engagement that we could? I mean, when you walk around in Starbucks or a dentist office or a doctor's office in the mall, people aren't looking at people. They're looking at their screens. They're not really paying attention. Is it any wonder that we're lacking true compassion in our society because we're getting our dopamine fix from our screens and technology and so many other things other than people? What's going on around us? I want to show you just this little picture of an eye. Look at it for just a second and I'll pop back in with you and close. Isn't that extraordinary? The eye and the reflection of seeing that person looking back at them. I want to encourage you. What if we got addicted to compassion? What if we got addicted to looking up and seeing what's around us and acting on those very things? You know what? If we did, just a little bit, I think the world that we live in would be a whole lot different. Thanks. See you next time.